Shabbat Shalom, everyone. On this day, Parshat Noach. We are all well acquainted with this Torah portion. In Parshat Noach, we learn of this righteous man in his time. He was an okay guy named Noah, who was given the instructions to build an ark because the floody is on its way. Noah does. His family and animals 2x2s, but it really was 7x7s were saved, because the text says that Noah was also instructed to bring 7 of every kind, of the kosher kind, to the ark. And then, of course, there is the flood subsides and the rainbow appears. And then shortly after, some bad things happen, which we're not going to go into right now. And then there's the whole story of the Tower of Babel, in which we get kind of confused. That's what Babel means, to be confused. Our languages get confused. And then, from then on in, our chore is to understand each other in other ways if we can't understand each other's language. Here is our front door. Hi, Renee. When I say our, it's mine and Renee's front door. And you can see there is a rainbow flag hanging from that front door. The rainbow, of course, is the symbol of diversity, and that's what we are going to be leaning into this morning, about what the rainbow is all about and why divinity chose a rainbow as a symbol. And we're going to find out too a little bit more about what that symbol entails. And so, Vayomer Elohim et Noach v'el banav oto lemor. And God said to Noah and to his sons with him, Va'ani hineni mekim et briti itchem v'et zarchem acharechem. I am establishing a brit with you and your offspring to come. You know what? That includes us. Because zarchem acharechem, that means you're their offspring and everyone that comes after them. So this is also a deal that God makes with us as well. It is a brit. Now, I know you are familiar with that word because it's often used in other occasions as well. But let's take a look at that word for a second, the word brit. There are 2 different kinds of britot, bein adam v'chavero and bein adam v'makom. So what does that mean? A brit between Adam, a person, and his or her fellow or sister. So what are the deals that we make, and what does a brit look like when I make one with you? Well, first of all, it could be a covenant of some kind. We write covenants all the time in form of contracts. It could also mean an alliance. You and me, it's you and me, kiddo, against the world. It could also mean a treaty. It takes 2 to make a treaty. And as well, it could mean an agreement. So there is similarity between all of these 4 things. So let's take a look at any similarities or differences bein Adam v'makom. Of course, makom is one of the names of divinity. Ha-makom. Yesh ha-makom hazeh, right? There, God was in this place, and my ego, did not know. So what does brit have to do when we apply it between us and God? It can also be an alliance of friendship. That God says, it's you and me, kiddo. We're in partnership now, and I need you to do my work. It also can, of course, mean a divine ordinance with signs or pledges, which is where I'm going with this week, to find out what the brit is in our Torah portion and what form it takes. Now, V'hakimoti et briti itchem v'lo yikaret kol basar od mimi hababul V'lo yeh od mabul l'shachet haaretz. I will maintain my brit, my covenant with you. Never again, v'lo yikaret kol basar, never cut off all flesh, mimei hamabul, by the waters of a flood. And never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. That is the deal. I'm making a brit with you and promising you this. Now, of course, there is another usage and other usages of the word brit. When, on the 8th day after a boy is born, we have a brit, or a bris, or called a brit milah. Now, don't mistake this. Being circumcised, that is not the symbol. It is not, when one gets circumcised, it is not that in itself, but Brit Milah is that doing this act, that is putting us in relationship with Hashem that we didn't have before. It's us sealing the deal, pun intended. And of course, here we have more signs of that happening. You know, that on the right, that is a Brit pillow. So the child is placed inside of there. Not everyone uses it. We did not use it for either of our sons. Rather, the son sat on someone's lap. Actually, it was a grandfather's lap because I would have passed out. Okay, now continuing on. Zot Briti. Back to our parsha. Zot Briti asher tishmeru beini uveinechem. So, such shall be a covenant between me, you, and your offspring, to follow which you shall keep. Every male among you shall be circumcised. This comes later in the book of Bereshit. Who is this said to? It is said to Avraham, which, he circumcises himself and then all of his household as well. Don't even make me think about that. And then there is the Brit later on in the book of Devarim, in the book of Deuteronomy. Very familiar. We sing this. Part is Kiddush. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam brit olam. So that's a different kind of brit, a different kind of sign, right? It is also an alliance, a covenant, an common and mutual understanding that between me and you, kiddo, God says, Shabbat is going to be a sign. It's going to be an oath. It's going to be Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam. Between me and the peace of Israel, it shall be an oath, a sign. So we have it here that a brit is an oath. An oath. Well, it's interesting. That sounds like oath. I never thought of that before. But it is a sign of the covenant. Shabbat is. Brit milah, circumcision, is a sign of the covenant. And two is the keshet, the rainbow. Brit is an oath. The parsha goes on to read, Et keshtai natati ba'ana vayita la'ot berit beini uvein ha'aretz. So here we have another kind of brit, right? The rainbow serves as an oath, as a sign. When the bow is in the clouds, it shall serve as a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Wow, this is not just a covenant between divinity and humanity. God is also promising not to destroy the entirety of God's creation ever again. When the bow is in the cloud, I will see it and remember. Now that'll make your mind blow, if anything else, that God needs to remember. I thought God knew all, but anyway, we'll put that aside for a second. It's an everlasting covenant. L'dorotam berit olam, between God and all living creatures and all flesh that is on the earth. So, I ask you, why the rainbow? Check out the bow and check out the archer. The rainbow is a keshet in Hebrew, but so is that the same word for the archer's bow. And you can see that the rainbow is situated in such that the bow is pointed upwards towards the sky, not towards us. So in this way, it is God's reminder that never again will my anger be pointed towards you. Halavai, if only that were so. One who wishes to indicate peaceful intentions reverses his weapon away from the person he is greeting. This is an ancient ritual. When two people or two nations were at war with each other, one might lay down their bow that it was pointed away from the enemy. So too the rainbow faces away from humanity and towards the heavens. Reb Zalman of blessed memory. Have to bring Reb Zalman in here. He understood the phrase Adonai Tzvaot to mean the God of diversity. The God of diversity, meaning the God of all nature, meaning the God of all animals as well, and of course the God of us, and we in all of our diversity. So there we have it. The reason that the rainbow flag is on our porch is to make a statement that we stand behind the diversity of all people. Rabbi Sachs agrees with us. The rainbow is a powerful symbol of hope. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs of blessed memory, a symbol of the potential for transformation, a symbol for the potential of ethical and moral challenge for humanity to embrace diversity and work together for the good of the world. And so, my holy friends, on this Shabbat Noach, may we fully embrace the gift of Shabbat, fulfilling our end of the covenant, Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, fulfilling our end of that covenant while passing it forward to others. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.